what you're looking at, well, let me start that over. Hi, this is Joan, and what you're looking at is a trailer from what most of you will consider to be an old movie. It came out in 91, and it's called Not Without My Daughter. Now, I had just seen videos where this woman on her site, Permission to Exist, was talking about Kwame Brown's hatred of women, and how you have to watch the whole video, even though it's 2.5 hours or something, to see it. And the thing is, she was very, very shocked. And the thing about getting older is that you don't get shocked as easily because you've seen things already. And it made me think about this movie, Not Without My Daughter. It came out in 1991, and at the time, I was married and looking at my ex-husband thinking, I gotta get out of this, like Richard Pryor said, that N-word's crazy. I gotta go. And it's bad enough for you to mess up my life, but I can't go before God and say I allowed him to mess up my kids. So this movie has special relevance for me. Now, 91, nobody heard a thing about narcissism. Nobody knew what it was. When I went to the hall and tried to explain, the guy is crazy. I mean, he's doing really crazy things. They would say, well, is he paying the bills? Yeah. Was he beating you up? Well, not regularly. Well, still, you look fine right now. When I called social service agencies, I couldn't even get into a homeless shelter because they said that, well, you own a home. We can't let you come in. I finally found one, and they said, okay, at the time I wasn't working. I had 3 young children, and they said, well, you can come in, but you're going to have to pay us, and you're going to have to go find child care. And I'm like, by the time I get finished doing all this, I mean, geez, and you want me to get it done within this certain time frame? And so I had to ask my sister, who was living in my mother's house, could I come stay with her? And she said basically, yeah, if you live in an unheated basement. So, of course, I wound up going back to my ex until I could save up enough money to get away. But the point I'm making is that you think this is new? It's not. What is happening is that the frequency is becoming such that it can't be ignored anymore. I mean, that is, back in 91, when I was going to court and saying, well, he's just doing crazy things. He took the plumbing out the bathroom for no reason. He didn't, hey, get ready, I'm taking the plumbing out. No, he just took it out. And when I complain, you don't believe me, or you tell me that it must be something I did. There are things that are difficult to prove. How do you prove that you didn't make somebody pull the plumbing out your bathroom? I mean, what I really wanted to say here, and I always try to base everything on the Bible, because, like I said, black women are now saying, oh, we better get armed because our men hate us. White people hate black people in general, but our black men, they hate us. We better get armed. The Savior told you that a long time ago. And I know I have done videos showing you where the Savior said, hey, you think what they're doing to me is bad? Wait till you get a hold of what's going to happen to you, women and children. So this is not new. And also, if you think about it, well, like I said, I used to sit in the hall and I used to hear them talk about, well, in the days of Noah, the world was filled with violence, and men's thoughts were violent all the time. And I thought, wow, I'm so glad we're not living in that now. Well, kind of you are. I told you, hey, it's going to go back to the days of Noah. So this is a warning for women, and I think particularly black women, like when I did the screw fly solution video, even though I don't even think there were any black women in that video. When things happen, when an ideal goes into the white community, it gets diluted there. But when it comes to the black community, it's concentrated. It's thick like a syrup. You cannot get around it. And now the thing is total misogyny. It used to be misogyny with a certain amount of, well, I'll pay the bills, or I won't beat up my woman, or I won't beat her up often, or something. Some kind of way I'm going to be accountable. I'm going to let her stay home and raise the kids, you know. But now you have misogyny with absolutely no benefit to you. Now, if you ask, especially black men, what is it you want women to do? I haven't heard one totally address that, but from what I gather, they kind of want you to sit home unless they want you to work. Well, yeah, they generally want you to work because they want you to bring some income in, but they want to be in control of the income that you bring in. They don't want you to look good unless they do want you to look good. It's kind of confusing. Maybe it depends on the individual man, but the thing is, they want to have complete and total control without you in any way using your mind, which is why I keep saying, hey, Genesis 3:15 is a curse. No human being can totally subject themselves to another human being. It can't be done. You're going to have your own thoughts, your own wishes, based sometimes upon your gender. I mean, that is, like, I remember back in the 80s or 70s when they kept saying, well, girls only want dolls because you give them dolls. If you give them trucks, they'll want trucks just like boys. And boys only want trucks and stuff like that because you give it to them. Give them dolls and they will be gentler. So they tried that for a few years until they realized when people started saying, when I take my kids to the store, the girls just start picking up dolls. I didn't tell them to do it. They just do it. And the boys just go picking up other kinds of stuff, railroad stuff, trucks, stuff like that. So there is a difference between us, but that does not mean that one cannot have respect for the other. But the other thing I wanted to say, and this will probably be controversial or just downright weird, so you can just dismiss it, but sometimes I think to myself, especially when I was listening to that Permission to Exist lady, have you noticed people say white lady but black bee? I've just noticed that. I mean, I even noticed it in my grandson. He's not cursing yet, but he said something about a white lady. And I thought, well, black women, see, you say black women, you don't say ladies. That does make a difference. But in any case, let me get back on the topic. I was thinking when I was watching Permission to Exist that people dismiss you when you bring up the Bible, even when you can bring up scriptures showing that, hey, we were told this was going to happen. Still, you aren't listened to. But the Bible basically told you. Okay, what I was trying to say is that people who are talking about the Bible will say, well, yeah, the devil was the most beautiful of all the angels. I'm not sure if he was the most beautiful of all the angels or of all the angels of his class, but in any case, he was known for beauty. So I thought to myself, well, what man walks up to a country and says, I should rule because I'm beautiful? And I kept thinking that, yeah, I thought, well, maybe the problem is the devil is a woman. Then I thought, well, wait a minute. If he's the most beautiful, I don't understand how he could be the most beautiful, because the Most High has to be the utmost of everything. So if there is a most beautiful, he would have to be it. And also, how can you make something more beautiful than you or more powerful than you? It's different with humans because you're not cloned. You have to have a partner to make another human. But the Most High is creating things directly, so the devil couldn't be more beautiful than the Most High. And I also thought about what Freud said. You know, everybody's heard about women having male genitalia envy. And I thought, well, you know what? Maybe it's the other way around. Maybe that's what's with all this hatred being directed at women. Like, you don't have to do anything. I once went to Walgreens. Now, this is a true story. I went to Walgreens, and the guy, I was looking at a magazine, and the guy who restocked the magazines came up and started restocking beside me. Now, he didn't say anything, and I was looking at the magazine, so I didn't even know he was there until I looked up. And I looked up and I went, oh, because I was like, oh, okay, I didn't know anybody was standing there. And I tried to tell him that, and he went off. He started saying, you black women think you so and so, you ain't got to talk to nobody, ain't nobody even trying to talk to you. It's like, look, dude, I didn't even get a word in edgewise. And the thing is, when somebody goes off on you, everybody looks at you like, and you're like, this guy's just going off. I mean, it was like the scene in that Tom Hanks movie where he cursed out his ball. He had an argument with his ball. And I thought, okay, vindication. I got cursed out for just standing there. And another time, I got cursed out by this guy on a bicycle because he was trying to talk to me. And I'm never rude. I just said like nothing. And he started going off on, well, that's why people want young women. They don't want women your age because y'all don't know how to act. Man, you on a bicycle. You're on a bicycle. Even if I was to talk to you, I'm supposed to ride the handlebars. Well, I don't even know what to say here. And again, everybody's looking at me like I did something. I didn't do anything. I'm just standing here. But the point I'm making, and I do hope if you haven't seen this film that you do look at it, not without my daughter, because it tells a story. I have nothing against Middle Easterners or anybody else. The point is not their religious or ethnic background or whatever. The point is that you can find yourself in a situation with a man, and I do think at this moment, yeah, this is a man's world. But like I said, who would really want to claim this world the way it is right now? But you are not going to get favor in the court. I had a female judge. I did not get favor. That woman made my life miserable. The only time she was reasonable was when my ex-husband took me to court and said that I was preventing him from seeing his children. And I explained, he picks them up at school. As long as I take him to school, which I definitely have been doing because I have to go to work, I couldn't stop him if I wanted to. That was the only time she was not mean and rude to me. So I guess this is just a warning to you, especially black women, though I do think women in general, that yeah, to a certain extent, men, they don't like us. I mean, I think that men of non-black races like their women partially because they like their race. So even if they're like, I hate women, but she's the color I like, and I want my children to be that color, so I can't just kill her. I can't just beat all of them. I have to be somewhat decent. I think the thing with black men is they are like, I hate women and I hate my race, and therefore I have no reason to put up with you. And I think that's why you can go to a Walgreens and get cursed out for just standing there. Or you can go to a store and a man follows you around who you think nobody in their right mind would want him. I mean, you need to fix yourself before you start trying to date somebody, is what I honestly think. If you are a man in your 40s or 50s and you're riding a bicycle, I mean, that is, to me, that's logical. If I'm riding a bicycle, I'm not thinking about dating anybody. I'm thinking about how can I improve my situation. And I tend to think that that would be good if everybody felt like that. But like I said, consider the movie, because this was a woman, and this is, to me, a lot of women's tales. It was my tale. I could relate to this story because I was sitting there with 3 daughters looking at a man who I think at the time I didn't know what to think. I just figured he's crazy. He's just plain crazy. I mean, he does stuff doesn't make any kind of sense. Somehow I get blamed for it. And when I go to the church, the Kingdom Hall, that doesn't help, because when he turns his back, they will whisper to me, well, next time you need a weapon. Okay, when I go to social service agencies, they're like, well, is he on drugs? No, he's naturally crazy. Well, why didn't you figure this out before